Long before Hollywood's image started to crack in public, Mel Gibson was already trying to explain what he had seen. Not as a whistleblower holding documents, not as a man chasing attention, but as someone who walked into the system young, hopeful, and completely unprepared for what was behind the curtain. Mel described Hollywood as a bizarre place. A place that doesn't corrupt you slowly over decades, but starts working on you almost immediately. When you first arrive, you're fresh. You're still off the farm, as he put it. You still have dirt on your shoes. People are drawn to that innocence. They celebrate it. They praise it. They elevate you, but at the same time, something else is happening. You're being studied, conditioned, groomed into the culture. Mel explained that at first, it feels good. The attention, the approval, the validation. You feel chosen. But before you even realize it, the industry's attitudes begin cascading down on you nonstop. Values shift. Boundaries blur. Things that once felt wrong start feeling normal. And here's the part that unsettled him the most. No matter how strong you think you are, Hollywood diverts you. It nudges you off your original path, slowly, quietly, persistently. When Mel arrived in his mid-20s, he started noticing things that didn't add up. Conversations that stopped when he entered the room. Behavior that felt rehearsed. Power dynamics no one explained. He said it felt like walking into one of those horror movie towns, where the stranger walks into a bar and the entire room goes silent. At first, he thought he was imagining it. He told himself he was being paranoid. No entire industry could function like that, but years later, he realized something. Chilling. Some of his worst suspicions were not paranoia at all. They were early. Warnings. Mel eventually reached a breaking point. He later admitted that he had a gut full of the entire industry. He described Hollywood as Hollywood, a place where you start imagining horror stories and then slowly realize they're not imagination. You begin to feel like something is being taken from you. So he did something almost unthinkable at the time. He walked away. He left Hollywood entirely. Moved back to Australia. Bought land. Dug holes. Built fences. Helped cattle give birth. Did real, grounded, physical work, the kind that reconnects you to reality. He said it saved him. Only after stepping away did he understand what Hollywood had been trying to turn him into, and how close he came to losing himself. And when he returned, his career exploded again. Lethal Weapon. Major success. But this time, he came back with armor. With boundaries. With awareness. Years later, Mel would speak openly about one of the darkest global crimes he believed Hollywood refused to confront. Honestly, human trafficking. Particularly involving children. He said awareness was the first step, and that message would resurface powerfully. When he publicly supported a film called Sound of Freedom, a movie centered on child trafficking, a movie that should have been universally promoted, but wasn't, recently released court documents and files reignited public scrutiny around Epstein's network, not as rumor, but as documented associations, photographs, flight logs, and testimony. Among the figures repeatedly mentioned is Bill Clinton, whose connections to Epstein have been debated for years. The latest files reportedly include additional photographs, travel records, and witness statements that contradict earlier public claims about the extent of their relationship. The files also include names and images of major public figures, musicians, actors, and business elites, photographed at Epstein-connected locations or events. Importantly, many of these individuals are not accused of crimes, but their presence illustrates how deeply Epstein embedded himself within elite circles. Even more troubling to critics, some documents were reportedly uploaded and then later removed or heavily redacted, fueling public suspicion about who is being protected. And the question isn't whether crimes happened. That has already been established in court. The question is how far the protection went, and whether Hollywood was silent or complicit for decades. Corey Feldman has spoken about abuse within the entertainment industry, particularly involving child actors. He described being surrounded by predatory adults at a very young age, without even realizing it at the time. Only later did he understand what was happening and how normalized it had been. Feldman has repeatedly stated that the trauma endured by his close friend and co-star, Corey Haim, deeply affected his life and health.